So you get to the end of the day, you've been responding to emails, you've done some customer work, you've been doing some bookkeeping, your website went wrong, so you had to do some time on your website, you've been doing some social media, you've made several cups of tea, half of which have gone cold. You've had a really busy day, but have you achieved what you set out to achieve that morning? If on a regular basis you're finding that you're really busy but you're not able to tick off the things that were on your to-do list in the morning, it may be that it's not that you don't have enough hours in the day, but that your business has kind of grown without any proper foundations. So you're not able to make deliberate choices about what you're doing, and instead you're being reactive. So I'm Sarah, and I'm the Office Fixer, and I'm here to help you build a calmer, more manageable, more organised business. If you were building a house, you wouldn't start by going out and buying the curtains and maybe a fancy sofa and a fancy coffee machine. You'd start with the foundations. If you were going on a journey, you'd have an idea where it is you're going, and you'd have an idea how you were going to get there before you set out. And your business is the same. It's great to have fancy systems, and it's great to be able to automate some of those things, and absolutely that's what we want to achieve. But first of all, we need to have that basic map of where we're going and what we're trying to achieve. So what is it that you want the business to do for you? What work does that involve? And where is your time currently going? So this is what we're going to look at today. So if you're an employee, you're generally taken on to do a specific role. So it might be that you're a customer services manager. It might be that you're a financial assistant. It might be that you're a marketing assistant. But you have a role, a specific role to do. Now, when you're a solopreneur or a small business owner, you have to do all of those roles. So you may have set out to be a photographer because that's what you're good at and that's what you enjoy doing. But you also have to be the bookkeeper and the social media manager and the customer services manager and the IT support. And all of these things, they take up your time, and you're often flipping between them in the same day. And the thing that gets left out is being a business owner. The job that you need to spend some time thinking and doing the strategy, and that's the thing that gets pushed aside because the customer needs something, so you put that hat on. And then an invoice needs sending, so you put the bookkeeper hat on. And then something happens to the website, so you put the IT hat on. And it's not just about the fact that you're constantly switching between jobs. The problem with that is that you can't easily sort of see where your time's being eaten up. And the other thing is that your mental sort of switching between one job to the other is really difficult, and that eats time up as you sort of get yourself back into whatever it was you were doing before. So I have quite a lot of systems, and they're there to help me manage my life, not just my business. I'm sure, like all of you, as a solopreneur, as a small business owner, our businesses are just one part of our busy lives. We have animals, we have family, we have volunteer commitments, we have a house to run. It's just one part of a jigsaw puzzle. And for me, without those systems, life would just get too chaotic. I'm a menopausal woman, my brain doesn't function the way that it used to, and I like to have that backup so that I know that when my memory fails, I've still got stuff in place to fall back on. But I'm not a perfect angel when it comes to the systems. I don't let them control my life. Life happens and I get on with it. But if things go a bit off-piste, then I know I've got my systems to come back to and to double check what was I supposed to be doing. Oh, yes, I've achieved that. Oh, no, I still need to do that. So they provide me a bit of an anchor and a bit of a lifeline, and I can easily sort of get back on track when things get a bit haywire. And that's what we're looking for, really. We're not wanting to have like this perfect system set up that controls our life. We're wanting to have just enough systems in place that we've got that backup and we've got a bit of structure and we can see what needs doing, and it gives us the opportunity then to be more flexible because we know we've got that sort of safety anchor in place. So before we move on to the systems, I want to go back to that foundation piece that we talked about earlier. And the first foundation stone is purpose. So I just want you to take a minute or two to remind yourself of why it was that you set up your business in the first place. What was it that you wanted it to provide for you? Your business shouldn't just be there to take from you, take all your time and your energy. You would have set it up originally because you wanted something from it. So it might be that you wanted more flexibility around your working hours. It may be that you had children or elderly parents or a health issue. You wanted to have that flexibility. It might be that you felt you could earn more money going out on your own. So whatever it was, just remind yourself before we move on, what was the purpose of you setting up your business? Businesses often drift a bit. They grow organically. Things happen. Customer asks for something, so you add it in. A new sort of marketing platform or piece of software appears, you start using it. And things just sort of evolve. And it's easy to lose track of what that purpose was. And this thing just sort of grows and becomes its own monster, if you like. And by having that purpose clear, reminding yourself of that purpose, it means you've got something to assess your activity against. So several years ago, probably a decade or more ago, I met Ben Hunt Davis. Now, Ben Hunt Davis, for those of you that don't know, was an Olympic rower many years ago, an Olympic winner, rower. And he wrote a book called Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? And he was speaking at a business conference that I was at. And this book describes the sort of years leading up to him and his teammates becoming Olympic rowers and all the things they had to do to become Olympic champions. And he was talking about how some of those things can apply to your business life. Now, they asked this question, will it make the boat go faster, for everything that they were doing over those sort of couple of years running up to going to the Olympics. So an extreme example, if they were going to go out to the pub the night before, will it make the boat go faster? Will I be able to get up early in the morning to be at my training session if I've gone out drinking the night before? And if the answer was no, then they didn't do it. So I just found that question on its own really great to use. But if you want to personalise it a bit more and add your own purpose into that, so will it help me achieve my financial independence? Will it help me whatever? Use that question to assess what it is you're going to do. If I do this thing in my business or in my life, will it help me X? And if it's not going to, then really think about whether or not you should be doing it and spending your time on it. So moving on from purpose to visibility, which is another of the foundation stones. We've talked about the different roles that you have to undertake when you're a solopreneur. And I've created just a simple worksheet I call the Hats worksheet. There's a link to it in the description below so you can download it. And all you need to do, it just has a number of heads with hats on. Very straightforward. And what you need to do is to print that off if you can, or just use your own piece of paper and draw a few hats and label each of those hats with a role that you perform in your business. So it already has the boss on there for you. And so you might then have customer services, financial assistant or bookkeeper. You might have IT support. You might have cleaner. And you might have some roles that are quite specific to your particular business. So just spend a bit of time and think about what those different roles are that you have to undertake in any one day or week or month within your business, and label each of those hats with those roles. We're not here to fix anything just yet. This is an audit. This is to make it visible. So you start to understand why things can get so chaotic, why you have that really busy day but you still haven't achieved what it was you set out at 9 o'clock in the morning to do. So when you've done all your hats, labelled all your hats up, just have a look back, a think back to your last week and just think about which of those hats you've worn in the last few days. And it might be that you were swapping between several of those hats in a day, very, very likely that you would have been, and maybe even within an hour. And then just understand that that's one of the reasons that things can feel so chaotic and can feel so tiring. It's not just the amount of work you're doing, but it is that constant back and forwards. And as I said earlier, the sort of mental gear changing from one role to the next and getting back into where you were with something before you got broken off. So we've talked about purpose, we've talked about visibility. And over the next few weeks, I want to cover a few more of those foundation stones. So we have capture. Have you got a place for all your tasks and ideas to safely live that's not in your head? Priorities. How do we decide what matters and what can wait and what can be done now? Repeatability. Do you have documents to remind you how to do tasks that are regularly done? So you're not having to reinvent the wheel all the time. And protected maintenance time. So you've got a regular review time that you can look at these things. So these are the business equivalent of your foundations of your house, of your plumbing and your wiring. And this structure starts to give us some freedom because it helps us to make deliberate choices instead of being reactive all the time. So if you've got a few minutes, just download that worksheet from the link below. That worksheet from the link below. Just fill in those different roles that you do into the hats, and then just choose one of those hats that you feel like has been taking over your week this past few days. What's had the most mental noise? Not necessarily the hat, the role that has been taking up most of your time, but the one that's been taking up most of your headspace. So are there unfinished jobs that keeps popping back up, unanswered questions keep popping back up, loose ends that you're sort of niggling at the back of your mind that you still need to do, things that you're worried that you might forget about. So that then gives you a bit more visibility, and visibility gives you more choice. And if that exercise shows you that a lot of the chaos you're feeling is because there's so much in your head, then I have a free download called From Chaos to Calm. And again, the link is below in the description. And that just introduces 3 simple systems that mean that you can start to get things out of your head and just create yourself a bit more mental headspace. So you don't have to set up all of those 3 systems in one go. Just pick the one that you think will make the most difference. As I say, links below if you want that, completely free. So thank you for watching. If you want to come back next week, that is great. We will be talking about how to decide what actually matters when everything feels urgent. In the meantime, if you want to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next podcast that goes out, and if you want to share it with another overloaded business owner that you know who might want to hear what, some of the things you've learned today and to know that it's not just her, then please share the video. And I hope to see you back here next week, because freedom needs a little structure.